Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over the rifle that you see in my hands right here and that you guys saw throughout the intro. This is the Palmetto State Armory Nitride Freedom Mid-Length Magpul Edition kit rifle that we built up using a Palmetto State Armory lower. And one of the benefits of building it yourself is that you don't have to pay, or rather Palmetto State Armory doesn't have to add in the 11% excise tax that goes into all complete built and sold firearms in the United States. So if you guys didn't know that, now you know. And it's one of the ways that they are able to offer this particular rifle at such a great price point, which of course we'll get into here in just a little bit. But I assembled it. I can't show you how to do it here on YouTube anymore due to their rules, but there's a lot of videos out there still showing you guys how to assemble AR-15 lowers if you guys are unfamiliar with it. A couple simple tools and you are in, and this is the outcome that we have here. We're gonna step outside, let the dogs take a look at it. We're gonna do an accuracy test, check it out and see what kind of groups you can expect out of this non-free floated barrel. Come back in, get into the details of the kit, the rifle, and then at the end, we're gonna wrap it up with what I think of it overall.
For the accuracy portion, we have a few different loads here, some different weights to check out. So first and foremost, we're going to be going with the lightweight load here. This is a, I believe 55 grain B-Max load. It's the Freedom Munitions Depredation load. So designed for varmints and so on. On the rifle right now, we have the 1-6 Primary Arms ACSS Raptor. It's the first focal plane scope. It's got pretty good glass in there, should be just fine. Target downrange at 100 yards. And we're using a CTK precision rest and factory trigger, so nothing fancy there. And we'll see how it does. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look excellent either from here. We'll see when we get down there though. Next load up is going to be the heaviest one that we're going to use. This is the Fiocchi 77 grain. It's got the Match King hollow point bolt tail round in there. So heavy for caliber. See how she likes it. That last one. Other than that, it's tightened it up pretty well. All right, lastly, we're gonna shoot some Winchester rather. This is a 69 grain, again, Match King hollow point bolt tail load. And this one's a 223 chambering. We'll see how she likes it. Go check them out. The first group up was the Freedom 55 grain. And regardless of how you measure it, we're right at 2 inches with that group. Then we came over here with the Fiocchi that I thought was gonna be the winner for sure. The last round killed it. But right there, we're right at 1 5/8 inches, 1.5 inches, 1 5/8, somewhere in there. So not a bad group. And then here we had the 69 grain Winchester. That one over there kind of threw it off, but we are right at 1 7/8 inches, so just under 2 inches center to center. So for non-free floated rifle, my opinion, it's certainly not terrible. I'd like to shoot that one again though, to see if it was me, but who knows. This is just a sample size of 3 different loads. It might prefer, it may not. So you definitely have to check it out with your rifle, but all in all, not mad about it.
To go over the details, we'll start on the end and work our way back. We do have an A2 muzzle device out here on the end. Just looking at it, it appears to be nitrided. I didn't see that listed on their page, but just an observation by me. Either way, A2s work really well in terms of an all-around muzzle device. You're not going to get a lot of concussion out of it. You're going to get some flash hiding, and of course we have the closed port there on the bottom to prevent a bunch of dirt kicking up if you're firing from the prone. That'll also give you a little bit of reduction in muzzle rise as well. So I'm a huge fan of the A2 muzzle devices for sure. The barrel itself is made out of 4150 CMV steel, so mil-spec steel. It does have a nitride finish, of course, both inside and out. That nitride finish is going to give you a good corrosion resistance, good hardness, surface hardness, and it's going to give you good barrel life compared to a non-treated substance. Now, I do have several videos on the chrome wine versus nitride argument, and you guys can check that out should you be interested in that. But all in all, it's a good barrel. You guys saw that it shoots pretty darn well for not being free-floated. And it's got a 1 in 7 twist on there. I did not see if it is MP or HP tested, so I can't really comment on that, but it seems to be doing well so far, as you guys have seen. Continuing to move back, we do have an F-marked front sight block. It also has the bayonet attachment on there, should you choose to do so. Of course, we have our mid-length gas system, and the profile of the barrel itself is going to be an A2 profile. I personally am not a huge fan of that. I've said that before many times, because you have a bunch of weight out here on the end that you don't really need, and it's skinnier back here, where if you were going to put some material anywhere on the barrel, this is the place that you'd want it, because that's where it's going to get the hottest and also have the most erosion of your rifling. But like I said, it works well. It shoots just fine. One thing I do like about it is that they did take a little bit of weight here on the end off, and I'm not sure why they did it, but I'm glad they did. I bet it saved about an ounce, which certainly doesn't hurt. The upper receiver is going to come with your handguards on there, and the handguards that they ship with are the MOE Magpul mid-length handguards. Now, while they are MOE, they do have M-LOK slots all the way around, as I believe all of the Magpul handguards nowadays do have. So any of your Magpul accessories, or M-LOK rather, accessories that you want to run on your rifle, you can do so without issue. You have the M-LOK slots here on the bottom as well. And we also have the aluminum heat shield, so that way you're going to get some protection from the heat that's going to come off of that barrel should you decide to do any sort of rapid firing with it. It will give you a little bit of relief. Of course, the vertical grip will give you a little bit more. And you guys also saw we have the light mount on there, which again, M-LOK compatible. I believe that's the Arasaka light mount. Goes in there just fine, as it should, being M-LOK. Both the low receiver and our upper receiver are made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. They have the Type 3 hard anodizing on there, so they're mil-spec in that regard. Of course, we have our shell deflector, forward assist, dust cover on there. We do have T markings on the upper, so that way if you're mounting your optic, you can mark it and always return it to the same place. It does ship with the MBUS rear. I'm a huge fan of the MBUS rear. It's got two different diopters there, so that way you can set it up for day or night shooting, or fast or accurate shooting, depending on whom you ask in terms of flipping those down. But we also have M4 feed ramps in the upper receiver, which are matched to the M4 feed ramps in the barrel extension, so certainly can't be too mad about that. Again, the lower is mil-spec in just about every regard. We also have the low shelf there, so that way if we ever get our rights back, you could put in a full auto selector. Again, we can all dream. Now the lower does come with the Ept Trigger, the enhanced performance trigger. As you guys can see there, it's got a different coating than the rest of the rifle. It's got that nickel-based coating on there, and then it's also polished, so that way the trigger pull is better, in my opinion, than your standard rack grade AR-15 trigger. The brake in weight are going to be the same, so you're still going to get right around 5.5 to 6 pounds. However, they're much smoother, and there's no real grit at all actually in the brakes, so you have almost no take up. Brakes, reset, nice and positive as you'd expect. So compared again to some rack grade mil-spec triggers, it's certainly a good thing. A safety on there is going to be left side only. Underneath that trigger, we do have the Magpul MOE trigger guard. It's going to give you a little bit more room in there, so if you're out shooting in the winter or using gloved hands or something like that, it's going to give you a little bit more room to not drag on the lower part of your finger, which is nice. Now the one sort of issue I reported in the first look video I did on this was this little guy here, this mag release button. For some reason, when you go to insert a mag, it sort of stops and kind of hitches on it. Now that has largely gone away with use, so I'm not sure if it was just sort of a rough edge or something like that that was catching, but now it's pretty much normal. I don't notice it at all the last probably 10 mags we put through the gun, but at first the mags were sort of kind of getting stuck on it, and then you have to nudge it a little bit more and then it would seat just fine. But now that issue seems to be gone, so that's a good thing in my opinion. Continuing to move back, we have the Carbine Buffer there. So it's not a H buffer or H1, H2, H3, etc. If you guys want to add those though, you certainly can do so. You have your standard mil-spec spring, and the diameter of the tube, which is a 6-position tube, is mil-spec. It's also mil-spec 7075 T6 aluminum, which is nice. So some of the PSA kits go with the 6061, but check their site and this one said it was 7075, so that's a good thing in my opinion. It doesn't, of course, come staked because you have to assemble it on your own, but I did go ahead and stake mine down. It also has a dry film lubricant on the inside when you get it in, which is nice. Another mil-spec touch there. The stock, of course, is the Magpul MOE stock, one of the most popular stocks out there on the planet, so they must be doing something right. For those that don't know, these don't have a locking mechanism like the CTR stocks or some of their more expensive stocks, so you are going to have a little bit of wobble in there. I know some people think that's an issue. If that's you, well, then hey, it's probably not the right one for you, but I've never had any issue with it. And of course, the grip as well is the MOE grip. Again, probably the most popular aftermarket AR-15 grip in America. Very ergonomic. It keeps the A2 angle, which some people really like, some people hate. It's personal preference at that point, but in my opinion, it's much more comfortable than your standard A2. I'd imagine a lot of people watching this video are going to be potential first-time AR owners, so one thing I want to sort of harp on here while it's on my mind is that the barrel, which we already went over, and your bolt carrier group sort of are the heart and soul of the AR-15. So we'll get into the bolt carrier group and the charging handle here. The charging handle is a 7075 T6 aluminum forged offering, mil-spec in just about every regard. Can't be mad about it. You can see we have some wear there, but that's just from good, honest use. Now the bolt carrier itself is a full auto profile carrier, meaning it has the weight back here and it's not relief cut, so that way, again, should we ever get our rights back, it would be able to trip a full auto sear, which certainly is nice. Taking a look there at the gas key, you can see pretty decent staking all around. Can't be mad about it. It's actually putting metal on metal, which is the purpose of it. The gas key itself is also chrome lined. The carrier is made out of 8620 steel. It has chrome lining where the bolt rides in as well, as you guys can see. The small components here, mil-spec, and then we'll get on to the bolt itself. It is made out of 158 Carpenter steel. And if you go to their website and check out the specs on this kit, it's not going to say that it is high pressure and magnetic particle inspected, but it certainly says it with the proof marks right there on the bolt itself. So that certainly is a bonus there. I didn't expect that when we ordered the kit, saw it, and was happy to see it. So for those that don't know what that means, is that they make this bolt here, and then they fire it with a high pressure round. So the round has higher pressure than your standard 5.56 loading, and at that point they're testing the metal to see if it's going to develop any sort of micro fractures in it, and then they do the MP testing, which is magnetic particle inspection, to see if there's any micro fractures that you can't see with your naked eye, and then once it passes that, it gets that stamp of approval. So that is good. So that's a bonus there for sure. Looking at the extractor here, you guys can see it does not have the Colt spring in there. So for those of you guys who are familiar with the, I believe it's 5-coil Colt spring, it doesn't have that. However, it does have the O-ring. That's going to give you a little bit more tension to provide positive extraction during the cycling of the rifle. I think we hit most of the details up pretty darn well there. You guys saw the accuracy, which was pretty good for a non-free floated barrel, and we've had a grand total of 0 malfunctions of any kind through this rifle. The majority of what we put through it have been the Freedom Munitions 55 grain M193 5.56 load. However, we also ran some 55 grain 223 remanufactured stuff, which is going to have a little bit less pressure, a little bit less energy. And then we also ran some 55 grain 223 Wolf through it, so some steel case stuff, just to see how it handled that. It handled it like a champ. It has not had a single malfunction, like I said, so you can't do better than that. That's a good thing. Like I said, it had that weirdo little mag release issue at first. That seems to be gone. That's good that it's gone. And all in all, the price on this rifle and the performance that we've seen makes it, in my opinion, an excellent value. So let's talk price. Right now, as of late April, early May 2018, the kits to build these rifles are generally on Palmetto State Armory going for like $425 or less. The lowers are going for, you know, $49 to $65-ish, depending on the day, depending on the sale. So you're getting a rifle that altogether, ready to go out of the box, is under $500. That's including a magazine as well, if you choose to pick one up. under $500 with the specs that you guys have seen here today that we discussed, with the performance that you guys have seen here today that we've discussed, I think this is one of the better values for AR-15s out there on the market that I've seen to date. Now, one thing I want to get into, if you haven't subscribed to the Palmetto State Armory YouTube channel, which I'm sure most of you haven't because it has like almost no subscribers, there's a video over there that I watched, and it was with the CEO of Palmetto State Armory, and one of the points he made was that one of their missions is to arm America, and I think that's awesome. So there are nicer AR-15s out there, no doubt. I reviewed many of them here. But what Palmetto State Armory does is it brings a value price proposition that's still going to work relatively well, generally speaking, across the board. Now, this rifle has worked exceptionally well across the board, but I really do believe that their mission to arm America with, carbines and such is an awesome mission, because if you look at any kind of like legal cases in terms of the Second Amendment over the last 50 years, one of the more frequent standards they use is common usage. If you look at the Heller case, they use that verbiage in that case to sort of decide against, or rather in favor of, quote unquote, assault rifles. That's a whole nother video for another day, but the fact that these are priced as they are and Palmetto State Armory is selling a ton of them, and good for them, they are making these rifles, these AR-15s, common usage, and I think that's a very important thing. And I'm glad that they're doing it and making a product that shoots well, is reliable, is pretty darn accurate, and is very affordable for a lot of people that just can't pay $1,500 and up for a rifle. And I like that. I like that a lot. I definitely have respect for them for doing that. So I think that's it. That can be rant complete, right? If you guys have any questions about this rifle, anything else that we discussed here in the video that I didn't get into in enough detail for you, you can also always rather post down below in the comments section. However, the best place to get in touch with me is over at my Facebook page. I tend to see the messages and comments over there much more than I do on YouTube, Full30, and elsewhere that I post. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you aren't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. And I hope to see all of you in the next video.